Alright, for some reason. Well, that was good. Fortunately, it's in a protective case, you know. I don't know if that's going to work. It might. Mookie, get off of there. See, he gaffs from the spray bottle every time. Let's see what we have here. Are we going to be in frame? More or less. All right, let's do it. A few minutes early. Wait a minute, what the hell is this? Windows something? No, I do not want to participate in that. Well, good morning, everybody. It's a Tuesday, of course. 11 a.m. here on Spokane time, and I'm Steve, Spokane Steve. And we're going to update you on the 1982 Strat-O-Matic replay that I'm doing using the Windows version of the game. It's been a while since I've done one of these. There were 2 weeks played since the last one, although one was a short week because that was the All-Star week. There were only a handful of games that week, I think 3 days of games. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, most likely. Anyhow, I meant to do this a while ago, and yeah, I didn't get around to it. I've been busy. A lot of stuff going on in my personal life, of course, and all the spring drafts for my keeper leagues, and so I just didn't get back to doing the stats update. As such, I haven't played any 1982 games past that Sunday. Oh my God. Let's have some more damn fine cup of coffee, shall we? Anyway, so yeah, this is almost going to seem new to me. So it's like we're both going to be looking at this for the first time. Of course, at 1:30 today, a little later on, I'm going to be doing the Card and Dice 1966 replay. That should be a good one. We've got Detroit at Minnesota with Lolich and Cott on the mound. I'm looking forward to that one. 2 good teams, 2 fine left-handed pitchers. What else is going on with me? Not much. Just wanted to pop in and say hi. I barely appear on the camera, as you know. Well, I don't want to break the damn thing. Okay. 1982. I'm just thinking back to that year, what I was doing. I was living in, was I still in Rough and Ready or Penn Valley, California? Anyway, tiny towns on the outskirts of Grass Valley, California. That's where I was at the time. During the 1982 season. And I won a pretty good chunk of change when Milwaukee beat California in the playoffs. I had a special bet riding on my man Don Sutton, and he came through for me. So that was fun. Memories of 82. Anyway, let's take a look at the stats. I'm going to switch the camera over here, and we'll see what we can do. Let's see who's in the chat here. Let's bring that up. We're going to bring that in nicely. That might work, okay? Hello there, Franklin. Hey, let me refresh this and I can see the chat. I've got both the laptops going today. I tell you, I'm dragging butt. I have been the entire month. And I slept well. That's the thing, I get it when I don't get the sleep, but I've slept well and still dragging. I'm not sure why this is kind of cattywampus, but maybe if I flatten that out a little bit. Damn it, I seem to be lagging. My monitor is lagging way behind. Okay, so we put that like that. Wonder if it would be better with the light. No, that's just going to create glare. Let's not do that. Okay, let's take a look at it. Let's see what we can come up with here. Oh hell, where are my reading glasses? 1 minute. Well, as you regulars know, these stat updates are pretty low-key casual affairs. I find that most people don't even watch these live. It's something people tend to look at later. Okay, that's reasonable. You can see everything, right? Yeah. Let's see if it's better with the light. I don't think it is, but I'm going to try it. I'm waiting for the monitor to catch up. What do you think, Franklin? Better with the light on or off? Light's on now. See, I'm picking up the glare from the screen live, but I'm not seeing it so much on the feed. Okay. And why is there a shadow? Is that where the light's hitting? Hello, Astros. No, I play them all. What I do is I manage the home team for every game. That way it's fair across the board, and I let Hal manage the road team. So you can see the standings there. Milwaukee has taken the lead over Boston by 2. Cleveland 4 back. Toronto 5.5 back. Yankees not out of it, but 9 games back. At a solid 45-40, which would put them in second place were they in the West. The Orioles, a 94-win team in real life, continue to underachieve. They seem to fight to get to 500. They'll get there, get a game or two over, and then drop back. They have won 6 of their last 10 here, as you can see. So Baltimore underachieving. Detroit really underachieving. They weren't great in 82, but they were 83 and 79. 37 and 51 so far. In the West, Kansas City just running away and hiding. They've got a 9.5 game lead on the White Sox, a 15 game lead on another big underachiever. The Angels won that division in real life with 93 wins. They're 41-49. The rest of the West, for the most part, whipping boys for the rest of the league. We'll go over to the National League standings, where we find the Cardinals 6.5 up on the Pirates. The Cardinals, of course, the eventual champions in 1982 in real life. In third, Montreal 9 back. Then we have Chicago, Philadelphia, and New York. In the West, the Dodgers have opened up a 5-game lead on the Braves. The Braves are the real-life division winners, although it was close, 1 game in real life. Padres hanging in at 48 and 42. They're 9 back. The Giants, who are 87-win team in real life, underachieving in this replay, as well as, of course, my 1966 replay, the latter the more shocking of the two, frankly. And the Astros and the Reds, along with the Mets, pretty much there to prop up the records of everybody else in the league. Or so it would appear. Right, so you've got 90-some games, 88 for the Braves, 90 for the Padres. So we're a little over halfway through the schedule. Let's take a look. This is something I've been throwing in lately. The newspaper style recap. You get a pretty good overview right here on this page. You get the standings off to the left. Batting leaders in the National League. Leon Durham at 352 and his teammate Bill Buckner at 339. Bill Madlock at 335. Bo Diaz, the Philly catcher, at 334. Dave Concepcion at 329. Mike Schmidt leading in home runs with 27. Chili Davis 21. And then we have Bob Horner, Jason Thompson, and Bo Diaz all with 20. Diaz leads the league in RBIs with 70. Durham 66. Al Oliver now with the Expos. I remember Oliver mostly with Pittsburgh. Oliver with 64 RBIs. Madlock with 63 and several tied with 61. In wins, it's Fernando Valenzuela and Tim Lawler with 14 wins apiece. Bruce Sutter, despite a high ERA for the Card, leads in saves with 20. Steve Howe, 17. Kent DeColvey, 16. Gene Garber, 13. Greg Minton has 11. In the ERA department, Scott Sanders of the Expos leading with a minuscule 1.78. Tim Lawler at 2.03. Fernando at 2.15. Joaquin Andujar at 2.19. And Bob Forsch, his teammate, at 2.21. Current hitting streaks. Johnny Ray and Dickie Thon have 16-game streaks going. Omar Moreno leading with steals with 42. Lonnie Smith and Tim Raines 39. Bump Wills 38. And Bob Dernier with 37. In strikeouts, it's Steve Carlton with 171. Mario Soto with an excellent strikeout card, 160. Nolan Ryan, no surprise there, 132. Fernando 126, and Bob Welch with 112. Let's check the same thing for the American League, where we find Willie Wilson leading the league in hitting at 358. Rich Dower really overachieving on his card so far at 340. Toby Harrah 336, Cecil Cooper 332, Damaso Garcia of Toronto at 329. Toby Harrah leads in home runs with 28. What did Schmidt have? 21, I think? No, 27, excuse me, so it's close. Harrah ahead of Schmidt by 1 for the Major League lead. I would say Harrah's overachieving. Schmidt can maintain that pace. Lance Parrish, the Detroit catcher, has 22 home runs. Ben Ogilvy and Reggie Jackson with 21 apiece, others tied with 20. In RBIs, it's Andre Thornton with 73, Cecil Cooper 71, Jim Rice 70, Toby Harrah 69, and Doug DeCinces 68. And we've got a question from Mike. Polls rather quickly for no reason in pitching changes. Well, they are baffling. But honestly, Mike, I found it a refreshing change from having to think for both teams. I can actually just play to win with one team. And that's why I do all the home games. So every team will have half their games managed by me and half the games managed by Hal, because Hal is not really good competition, if you know what I mean. I mean, he's okay, but most of the guys that I play against competitively on net play are much more competitive than Hal. And as far as to be more specific answering that question, if he pulls the pitcher too early, most of the time I'll let the lineup play. In the later innings, I will try to react. Of course, it all depends what the team has on the bench. Another thing I like to look at is the grand totals. So let's take a look at that. American League first. Team stats, in other words. Boston 288 as a team, Kansas City 286, the Angels 281. And runs scored. It's too bad you can't sort it. I'd love to be able to sort that by runs scored. But in this case, batting average does correlate with runs, as Boston with 461 run. No, that isn't true. I'm sorry. Cleveland with 463 runs leads in runs scored. It's possible they played more games. They've played 87 games, Boston 89. No, actually, Cleveland played 2 less games and scored 2 more runs. So 463, 461. Then it's Kansas City, California at 442. In 5th place would be, it looks like, Milwaukee at 432. Milwaukee, of course, they were the Bashers that year, and they lead in home runs with 109. 105 for the Twins, 104 for the Angels. In terms of pitching, the whole league ERA just around 4. Milwaukee 3.42, Kansas City 3.47, New York 3.55, Toronto 3.6, Boston rounds out the top 5 at 3.76. Seattle and Toronto have given up a lot of home runs. Well, I won't spend a ton of time on these. You can always pause these later and look at whatever you want. Let's go over to the National League totals. Pittsburgh at 285 average, the Cubs 275, the Reds 270, and runs scored 460 does lead. The Pirates 460 runs. 436 for the Cubs, 426 for Montreal. And then it would drop off to 417, St. Louis, 416, Los Angeles. Pitching, the Padres, look at that, 2.99. They've taken over the team ERA lead. The Dodgers at 3.03, Cardinals 3.37, Expos 3.55. The Braves pitching has let them down a little bit at 3.72 compared to real life. Cincinnati's been throwing up batting practice, basically. What else can we look at here? Oh, you know what? Let's go to the awards voting. Is that what I want? No, I don't want that at all, although it's interesting. Jason Thompson would be the MVP leader at this point. Tim Lawler, the Cy Young. What I really wanted was the record book. Okay, longest games. Most runs, one team. Most hits, one team. Most runs, both teams. A couple of extra inning games in there. Most hits, both teams. At bats, many players tied with 7. We've had 6 5-hit games in the NL. You can see them all there. Sandberg, Ron Oster, Lee Lacy, Tim Raines, Gary Matthews, Pete Rose. 5 players have had 4 walk games. A whole bunch of players have had 4 strikeout games, or the Golden Sombrero, right, as it's called, yeah. Mike Schmidt and Tim Wallach each have a 3 home run game. A lot of players have scored 4 runs in a game. Too many to mention. Tony Pena, the Pittsburgh catcher, had an 8 RBI game, and 3 players had a 7 RBI game. Cromartie and then Schmidt and Wallach, I would assume, occurred in the 3 home run game. Schmidt June 1st, Wallach July 4th. Where was that? Yep, exactly. That's what you'd expect. Runs allowed, least hits allowed. The Bob Forsch no-hitter, I showed you guys that. I'd forgotten about it already. We've had 4 one-hitters. Strikeouts, Mario Soto had a 15 strikeout game. 5 home run allowed games by Gullickson and Rick Rhoden. Here's my favorite, though. What happened to batter game score? Hang on a second. Where the hell's the batter game? There it is, batter game score. I breezed right past it. Wallach and Schmidt, of course, those same three home run games. Easily the best batter game scores of the year. And then in pitching, we've got Valenzuela with a 96, although he did it in 11 innings. Don Sutton with Houston 82 against the Phillies, a 92. Dave Stewart with a pretty mediocre card against the Padres, had a 91. Tim Lawler put up a 90. Let's jump that over to the American League. Whoops, wrong league. Okay, that's not what I want. Where the hell is it? Yeah, there's a 19-inning game, the longest game. Most runs, one team. Most hits by one team. Most runs, both teams. Most hits, both teams. Well, it might have been, but they have a good team. I find they're really they're the most frustrating team for me to manage right now, Franklin, to be honest. They seem to be jinxed. They can't get anything going. Their luck is really poor on the rolls. 5-hit games, a lot of them. Too many to mention. Bunch of people struck out 4 times. A lot of 3 home run games in the American League. Toby Harrah, Vaughn Hayes, Ben Ogilvie, DeCinces, Dwayne Murphy of Oakland, Dave Winfield, Reed Nichols of the Red Sox had a 3-homer game. Bunch of players scored 4 runs in a game. And 4 players had 7 RBI games. Weiniger, Singleton, DeCinces did it twice. I can tell you hitting is not the Angels' problem. Pitching is, and that bullpen is awful. I'm not quite sure how they actually won the division in real life with that staff. I love this one. Ricky Henderson, stolen bases in a game. Other than Damaso Garcia right there and Mike Edwards down here, it's all Henderson. He's stolen 5 bases in the game twice. He's done 4, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. That's 34 right there. That's more than most players will get. Batter game score, Toby Harrah with the 94. DeCinces with a 91. Molitor and Nichols with a 90. Doc Medich threw a no-hitter. We saw that one. No one-hitters in the AL. A lot of two-hitters. Jiminy Christmas. Dan Petrie had a 10 walk-allowed game in 7 1/3 innings. Strikeouts, Jim Beattie had a 14K game. Floyd Bannister a 12. Jerry Ujar gave up 5 homers in a game. There's a name from the past. I forgot all about him. Ujar, yeah. Even when I see him when I'm playing, I still think that. It's like every time it surprises me. I think the same thing, in other words. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that guy. Game score, Ron Guidry had a 91. Medge's no-hitter, a 90. So Guidry must have had a bunch of strikeouts. Strikeouts favor well in the game score for the pitcher. I know that. Let's see, what else should I look at? What does anybody want to see? Just go ahead and shout him out when you know him. From my cousin Vinny, yeah. So we had the record book. We could go through the league leaders. We've seen most of those, however, condensed version in the newspaper style recap. It doesn't have runs scored, though. It's Hara, Evans, Cooper, Garcia, and Henderson. It doesn't show doubles, where Yount leads with 32, or triples, where Larry Herndon has a dozen and Hal McRae 10. It also breaks off the home run leaders at 5, so we can see who the 2 tied for 5th were. It's Cecil Cooper and DeCinces. Jim Rice, Gorman Thomas, Andre Thornton, Dwight Evans, Harold Baines. Henderson with 92 walks. Holy crap. Intentional walks, surprisingly, Bruce Bhakti with 11. You got to realize, of course, the lion's share of the intentional walks are issued by Hal. You guys that follow my card and dice game know that I pretty much disdain the intentional walk. Not to mention that in 1982, the American League had the designated hitter, of course. So there's no case of walking the 8-batter to get to the pitcher here. Reggie Jackson striking out at a marvelous pace, 92. Chet Lemon's been plunked 9 times, several with 7. There's Henderson's stolen bases. Look at that, 97 steals, a little over halfway through. He's going to shatter his own mark. Damaso Garcia, a very impressive 53, but a distant second to Ricky. Slugging and on base. They don't show that in the newspaper recap. Toby Harrell, Lance Parrish, Cecil Cooper, Dwight Evans, Fred Lynn, your top 5 in slugging. Dwight Evans, Toby Harrell, Thornton, John Wathen of Kansas City, and Bruce Bhakti, your top 5 in on base. OPS, it's an interesting stat. I don't put a lot of faith in that one. We can go down to the pitching. One thing I do have in this that I don't have in card and dice is the X percentage leaders. Percentage of X plays made, right? So to me, I mean, that should be your gold glovers, right? Murray, Damaso Garcia, Buddy Bell, Yount at short, outfield Henderson, Willie Wilson, Gary Ward. Right behind them, Rick Manning, Cleveland center fielder, Allenson at catcher. Wins, losses, ERA we've seen. Or did we see ERA? Jim Beattie, 1.85. I don't remember saying that. Quisenberry, a reliever. He's been a workhorse to qualify. 2.26. I'll check his usage. Eckersley, of course, was still a starter then. 2.35. Dan Petrie, Luis Leal. I remember Leal was leading in the early going. He's come back down to earth. Complete games, we have 3 with a dozen and a couple with 11. Saves, you've got Gossage, Fingers, Cottle, Quisenberry, Bob Stanley, Salome Barojas, Dan Spillner. There's some names from the past. Eckersley, Hoyt, Matlack, and Medich all have 3 shutouts. Strikeouts. Somehow I think I skipped the American League newspaper recap. I did, didn't I? Bannister leading with 125. Len Barker, Ron Guidry, Jim Beattie, Jack Morris rounding out the top 5. Let's pop over to the National League. A lot of these we've seen. Runs scored: Jason Thompson, Oliver, Andre Dawson, Sandberg, Madlock. Doubles, it's Terry Kennedy, 26, the Padre catcher. Dale Berra, Ray Knight, Steve Garvey, Andre Dawson round out the top 5. Tim Raines leads in triples with 6. There's the home run leaders again. RBIs, walks, intentional walks. Holy cow. Yeah, there's more in the National League for sure. Lonnie Smith with 19. I can tell you that's largely a product of where he's hitting in the lineup, or rather who's hitting behind him. He probably picks up in the clutch too. Dave Kingman, not surprisingly, leading in strikeouts. Lonnie Smith's been plunked 8 times. Wills 7, Rose and Kingman 6 each. A lot of sacrifice hits, most of them pitchers, although there's Hubbard, Oster, the only non-pitchers among the sacrifice hit leaders. We saw stolen bases. Longest hitting streak, Dawson at 23. The Stars represent a current hitting streak. Here's slugging it on base. It's Schmidt, Durham, Bo Diaz, Thompson, and Madlock, the top 5 in slugging, with Jason Thompson at 441 leading it on base. Leon Durham, Lonnie Smith, Cesar Cedeno, and Dale Murphy round out the top 5. Joe Morgan at 401, just missing. Left, right, X percentage. Garvey, Trio, Manny Trio, the Philly second baseman. Ken Oberk fell at 3rd. Ozzie Smith, not surprisingly. And that was Mookie, that noise you heard. Dawson, Mookie Wilson, Terry Poole in the outfield. Omar Moreno just missing. Tony Pena at catcher. We've seen wins. ERA. Complete games, Steve Carlton leading with 10 complete games. Soto and Lawler with 9, Valenzuela and Sutton with 8. We saw the saves. Shutouts, we have had 6 pitchers throw 3 shutouts. Carlton, Welch, Lawler, Sutton, Andujar, and Fergie Jenkins. Strikeouts, we saw that. Yeah, somehow I think I missed the did I miss no, we saw Wilson. Did I get sidetracked or something doing that one? What's further down there? Who's hot? Who's not? We can sit on that for a minute. I'm going to look at the chat real quick. Okay, you're not alone, Franklin. Yeah, we can check on Mookie here in a minute, too. A little bonus today. He's on top of the microwave pretty much as usual. That pretty much covers it. Let's take a look at Suter again. He has improved since last time. This continues to mystify me here. There's the blue line is his replay numbers. The white is real life numbers. So real life, he had a 2.90 ERA, and my replay 4.29, but he still leads the league in saves. He's given up, here, look at the hits per nine right here. 7.8 in real life, 11 hits per nine in the replay. So Suter's card is definitely underachieved, but he still leads with 20 saves. And the Cardinals are in first place, so he hasn't hurt him any. There's the card. I'm trying to think of another player who's significantly over or underachieved that we might want to look at. I'll tell you who's having an amazing season for his card is this Bo Diaz. 288 in real life. He's hitting 334. He's already hit 20 home runs. He only hit 18 the whole season. He already has 70 RBIs. He had 85 the whole season. Look at his on base and slugging. Let's look at the card. There's the Bo Diaz card. I mean, it's a good card. There's the bar chart. Better against lefties, although more power against righties. I like the bar chart. I'm not sure how it adjusts for the ballpark, though. Does that mean in his home ballpark? Or is that like an average? See, I don't know. They don't tell you that. So that gets us up to date in 1982. That's really about all I've got. Let's take a quick look at the cat. And then I'm going to sign off. We're about 2 hours away from my 66 game today. Hey, there he is. Let's back that out a little bit. There he is. What's up, Mookie? He says, you're normally not at the desk at this time of day. But he's there watching me anyway. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the stats replay. If there's something else you want to see when reviewing the stats, put it in the comments. I'll be happy to take a look at that, include whatever you like. There's so many stats in the Windows game that it would take all day to go through all of them. I mean, you can look at things like, oh, good grief, let's do one for the fun of it. Oh, somehow I flipped this, huh? Okay, let's go in tight. And let's look at somebody. Let's see. Okay, let's just take Diaz just as an example here. You've got his game log report, what he did in every game. You've got his lefty-righty, what he did batting in each spot in the lineup versus each team, home and road, day and night, and by month. Okay? You've got his base running. This is just one guy, okay? Streaks and highlights. It's nuts. A lot of the stuff I hardly ever look at. There's just so much here. It's stat overkill, really. I would have loved this more when I was younger. I tell you, I could pour over stats all day when I was younger. Now, I don't know, I'm kind of more about just hitting the highlights, I guess. Anyway, that's about a 30-minute update. And I'm going to get out of here. So once again, I hope you enjoyed the stat update. Join me at 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 Eastern for 1966 baseball. Once again, that will be Detroit at Minnesota. And until then, Spokane Steve saying take care and have a great day, everybody. So long.